Manchester United smashed Chelsea in the FA Youth Cup and will play Arsenal in the next round. A brace from Scanlon and a hat-trick from Chido. He will be playing Arsenal next. How brilliant would it be if he gets a hat-trick? And we're going to talk about him, United's plans for him, what a talent he is, and could there potentially be minutes for Chido further down the line? There was talk of him being a first-team training. We're going to talk about Man United's new plans to improve the attack. New striker signing, and midfielder to Bruno can move at 10. What is United's plans for the attack in terms of transfers and more? But also Jadon Sancho. There were some people saying, because some Chelsea fans wanted to give Jadon Sancho back, could Chelsea find a loophole so they don't have to pay 25 million for Jadon Sancho? But Jadon Sancho will leave. Fabrizio Romano's confirmed that unless Chelsea finish lower than 14th, he will leave. And actually, he's added some interesting information about Jadon Sancho. Yoro talk, ex-United player Paul Scholes criticising 18-year-old Leny Yoro because his third Premier League start against Southampton, he had put in a poor performance, despite the fact he put in a really good cameo when he came off the bench versus Arsenal. I mean, that tackle he made on Darwin Núñez stopped Liverpool getting 3 points against us. But for some reason, let's criticise Yoro, an 18-year-old put out of position in a poor environment that's just come back from a big injury. We're going to talk about our ex-players, and I think sometimes they're a little bit overcritical and some other news. But let's start with the positive, which is the academy, because the only positive thing at Man United right now is the academy, and that has been the case for the last few years. We've got a talented academy. Now, Chido got a hat-trick versus Chelsea in the Youth Cup, and this is what Adam Lawrence had to say on it. It was a really good night for both goal scorers, Obi and Scanlon. I thought they both put in really good performances overall, apart from the goals. Chido is a natural goal scorer. He wants to score goals and get in those positions, but I was really pleased with him in terms of his link-up play, not just the runs and stretching the defence, but also knowing how to use his body to protect the ball and want to involve others in build-up, which is something that Højlund's been criticised of recently. Scanlon was rewarded for his running, his positioning, and he's a very good finisher with both feet. And interestingly, I want to touch upon this because what we saw with Chido was for the goals, the positions he gets in, he's a natural goal scorer. He uses his body for the second goal to sort of get that finish in. He's in the right position for the third goal to tap it in. And for the first goal, he makes the right run. He's a natural striker. He's in the right positions. He's using his body well. He's making the right runs. There's lots of times where Garnacho's pulled back the ball, put it into the box, and no one's been there. Chido was there in the Youth Cup. He was in the right positions. And I'm not saying that he's the answer and he's going to solve our problems. He's 17 years of age. If you seriously think that Chido's going to come into Man United and at 17 years of age perform like Haaland, you're absolutely ridiculous. But I think it's an exciting player. This is a player in 4 or 5 years' time where he could be top. Not many strikers are at the top of the game at 21, and in 4 years' time, he'll be 21. That's the same age as Højlund. A lot of strikers aren't at the best till 25, 26. We're talking 7, 8 years' time. This could be an absolute baller. But when you look at the way he's playing and the way our current strikers are playing, you might be saying, there might be an opportunity to give him 10 minutes off the bench here or there, see what he can do. And I think that's what United will do. Let's give him 10 minutes off the bench here or there, see what he can do. Amram will look at him in pre-season. It's very rare for an 18-year-old, 17-year-old to be leading the line, but there could be something there. Every now and then a player comes through the academy. I remember Greenwood a couple of years ago, and he at 18, 19 was a lot better than what we had. I mean, that was Dan James, and then he could play centrally if Martial was injured. And sometimes you get that. But I think we also have to lay the expectations of this kid is so young. This kid is so young. Striker is probably the hardest position at United right now. But I'd love to see Chido get 10 minutes off the bench here and there. But I think you've got to remember, if he has 2 bad games off the bench, people say he's not good enough. People say he's a flop when he's 17, and he's ridiculous for 17. This is a guy that we won't really know his ability for 7, 8 years. You've got to remember that. But Christopher Viver was in the stands to watch the game. So was Jason Wilcox and Darren Fletcher. They will be watching the academy, the players closely. Scanlon's one that's impressed. Obi's one that's impressed. But they will be looking at a few other players. Kukonki and Heaven are the only ones making the match day squad so far. And with Leach's injury, Heaven is probably most likely to get minutes as a first-team player. But let's continue on. Manchester United will target midfield reinforcements this summer with the aim of reducing the need for Bruno Fernandes to play in a deeper role too often, as said Dean Jones. I think we will be looking at a midfielder that's comfortable on the ball, progressing the ball. We've been linked to Edison, we've been linked to Chris Rigg, we've been linked to Hayden Hackney. I think we will look at midfielder. It's very obvious. We've signed one wing back, we're going to sign another wing back. So the second signing is going to be someone that can play right wing back, or a left wing back, and Dorgy plays right wing back. The third signing is going to be a striker. The fourth signing is going to be probably a left centre-back. The 5th signing is going to be a midfielder that can play the ball well. And the 6th signing is going to be a left 10. And we've already got the first signing. So that's going to be the 5 signings I think that United will make. We know that striker's the priority. And it said United have put the addition of a first-choice striker high on their list of priorities for the summer window. Delap is being pinpointed as a serious target. I think they want Gyökeres and Osimhen, but I think if they can't get them, they'll get Delap. And I said that in my video the other day. Højlund is not rated by Ruben Amorim. Xerxes not seen as a 9 by Ruben Amorim. Kobbie Mainoo was playing as a 9. Obi could generally get minutes for United towards the end of the season. I don't see him starting or anything. Delap is one to watch. Ornstein said that. Laurie Whitwell said striker's priority. Ornstein said we like Delap. Sesko's going to go to Arsenal. Cunha-Sin is a left 10. Gyökeres we like. Osimhen we like. And then Liam Delap we also like. They are the 3 we're looking at. And if Ipswich get relegated, we might go for Delap. I like Delap, but I do think with Gyökeres and Osimhen, you've got a bit more ready-made experience, whereas Delap is quite young. But Delap's proven in the Premier League this season, there's a decent player there. Just my worry is he comes to United, he goes in the graveyard shift, and all of a sudden Delap doesn't look that good. That's my worry with it. Also, him being ex-City, would he want to come to United? People did mention that. I don't know, Sancho came to United, but you could tell he never liked us. Anyway, continuing on, Amorim identified Gyökeres and Osimhen as the dream forward signings, but concerns over whether United will be able to meet their demands mean Delap is a more attainable option. I think for striker, we just got to go big. Unless they're asking for ridiculous wages, I think for the striker position, we have to go big. We can afford a bit of a young player at wing back. We can afford a young player in midfield, but for striker on left hand, we need big. We need someone that's ready now. We need someone that's good. That's what we need, in my opinion. We need to spend the money. Now, talking of money coming in, if we want to spend big, it depends on the money coming in. Now, hopefully Antony continues to do well at Betis and we can maybe get 20-25 million for him. Hopefully Rashford smashes it at Villa. He's got a 40 million clause on him, but maybe Barcelona might say, wow, he's done so well at Villa, we'll give you 50 million, Manchester United. You never know there. But Jadon Sancho, that is going to be 25 million and 200, 300k off the wage bill. Obviously, we're only paying 50k a week of his wages, but only 50k a week when you actually think about that. That's still 2 million a year. And considering we're sacking staff to save 3 million a year, another 100 staff, and we're basically paying Sancho that on loan at Chelsea, is crazy. But Fabrizio Romano said that no doubt Sancho's obligation will be triggered in the summer. It's just the amount of that will change based on Chelsea's final position. So if Chelsea finish high in the league, we get a bit more money for Jadon Sancho, which I'm not going to complain about. Although I don't mind if Chelsea finish high in the league, actually. I don't really care about Chelsea. I don't want Liverpool to do well, and I don't want Arsenal to do well. I don't want City to do well. So I'm sort of hoping Nottingham Forest win the league this season. Come on, Forest! But because if Liverpool sing 20 times, that will make me feel sick. But no doubt Sancho will go. Sancho will go. There's some Chelsea fans giving him stick lately. He's gone back to United, Sancho, but he will go. He can't come back when he's putting his freedom comments. He's fallen out with the fans. He's not been good enough when he played, and he's not been particularly exciting at Chelsea. I think he suits Ruben Amorim's system more than Garnacho, and I actually think Garnacho suits Maresca's system more than Sancho, because Maresca wants Sancho to play touchline, but yeah, no. Continuing on, Paul Scholes says he hasn't liked what he's seen from Leny Yoro so far and been a little bit critical of Leny Yoro. And I'm going to put Adam's comment here, saying Paul Scholes points to Leny Yoro's performance against Southampton in his third PL start, the first where he struggled. And someone said, is this what we do now? Is this who we are? We don't support our young players through tough times. We eat our own. Youth, courage, success, nah. Support young players through their mistakes. It's exactly why we wouldn't rush any academy prospects into the first team, because this is what happens. And this is the problem with this fan base. And it's annoying that pundits with a big voice are doing it. You're 18 years of age. Your first 2 cameos were good, but in your third start for the club, you had a bad game. You must be a flop. Obi Martin, let's say Obi Martin plays 5 games this season, and then in his first 3 games, he scores a goal in every single one of them. But then his 4th and 5th game, he doesn't play very well. All of a sudden, oh no, he's just not good enough for United. Oh, but he's 17, and he had 3 really good games, but because in his 4th and 5th game, he was bad, he just, I don't like the mentality of our ex-players. I think, to criticise, a first-team player, fair enough, someone that's established. But Man United's crap at the moment. This young kid who's come back from a horrible injury gets thrown in out of position because he's a central centre-back playing right centre-back. He was signed to play in a back 4. He's now playing in a back 5 in a wide role, which he's never played before, which we didn't sign him to do because with the Ten Hag mess at the beginning of the season, he gets the hardest job and he's getting stick. And I look at it and I thought, last game when Leny Yoro played left centre back and him and Mazraoui swapped in the second, I thought he was fantastic. Versus Liverpool when he came off the bench, he was fantastic. Versus Arsenal, he was fantastic. But because in his third Premier League start, he didn't look good versus Southampton, and yes, he got cooked. He's a bad player. Van Dijk had a shocking game yesterday. If that was Van Dijk's third start for Liverpool, and Paul Scholes be giving him a stick at 19 years of age? Van Dijk's the best centre back in the world. It doesn't come close. Nobody comes close to Van Dijk right now. Saliba is not close. But Van Dijk didn't have a great game. Centre backs can have bad games. Saliba got cooked by Isak. Leny Yoro had a better game versus Southampton than Saliba did versus Newcastle. So he had a bad game versus... Stop being silly. Judge him by the season. At the end of the season, what we've seen from Yoro? Some good games, but we've seen some rawness. We've seen some games where he's not been as good, but he's 18, 19 years of age. Second season, do we see progress? Oh, we can see Yoro developing. That's good. If his second season's poor, you go, ooh, but it's not. I just think our ex-pundits are way too reactionary and not giving people time. And I think they've got to understand that football you need to develop. The class of 92 were thrown into a good environment. They got to develop. They didn't have social media pressure.